God-shaped hole in everybody's heart. And we're looking for something to put in that hole. We're looking for some type of adventure, or some type of romance, or some type of popularity, or followers, or, you know, soulmate. But the only thing that will satisfy that puzzle piece in the heart is God, because we are all part of God and we just forgot. The material world won't have peace because the snake will always eat the frog and the frog always eats the fly. We think we can have world peace. It can't necessarily exist, but you can minimize the pain of this world, and you can minimize the pain in your mind. You can at least have peace of mind. This world makes no sense. It's got no plan, and people are just like bumping into walls, trying to figure out how to be happy. Take a deeper look at what's going on in the West. Addiction communities, recovery communities, you know, again, overfed, undernourished, right? Mental health is out of control. Suicide with teenagers. You think we have it all together? It might look pretty. Go a little deeper and see the really things that are suffering in the Western world. And does India really want to follow that? Come on. Sometimes we're standing next to something so good, so important, so real, so strong, but we're not facing it. We're standing something, right? You're standing next to Dharma, to divinity, but I'm facing in the other direction. I think in the West, we've done everything. We've ruined our life. We've made chaos and insanity in our lives, and we're lying in the gutter, but we're sort of looking for the stars. Well, as a monk, there was a strict temple program you'd have. So I had a whole team of probably about 7 to 10 monks at one point like that I was in charge of. And so we had a very, very early rising. We rose at 2:30 or 3 every morning. We take cold showers. So if you live in where I was living in America, in Philadelphia at the time, cold showers, it was already freezing outside. So snow is outside, we're taking cold showers. And then we have a whole morning aritis and morning songs. And some of us have different services. Either in the ashram we would cook, or actually all of us learned how to cook. That was the beautiful thing of Vedic culture. You learn these things that like Americans never learn. Most Americans never learn about cooking or health unless they really focus on it. But living in the ashram, I learned how to cook everything, all the best Indian foods. And we cook them mainly, we don't cook them, we cook them as like an offering of love. So the cooking in Bhakti is an offering for Lord Krishna, for Radha and Krishna. And now that I just had my birthday yesterday, I turned 58 years old. My life is not that much different. I have children, and I have a home, and I have a yoga retreat center. So now at 58 years old, you know, my life is not that much different, at least my morning routine. Previously, you know, living in the ashram, it was very, you know, we were just sort of surrendered souls at the ashram. Now I have a big property, which is like an ashram, because we have retreats there on a regular basis where we teach yoga, we teach meditation, we teach kirtan, and all different types of, you know, weekend retreats like that. And we have a big property, 11 acres of property, and two big houses where people can stay in a yoga studio. I still rise early, about 4 a.m. every morning, and I do a morning puja, and I do a morning sitting in one place and chanting japa for 2 hours. And then, which you know, if you're new to this and you hear that sitting in one place, that sounds like the most boring thing. It's not the most boring thing. I have a reasonably exciting life. I travel all over the world. I have loving children. I have ups and downs in my day. But the highlight of every one of my days is just sitting there and focusing on chanting good japa. And if you've never tried it, you should try it. And then I have my duties throughout the day, and I have children I take care of. And then in the evening time, same thing. We have a community, we come together, or my family comes together, we sing, and sometimes we read from the Gita. And it's sort of like recreating ancient India, because if you grew up in a village in India, and this is, from what I understand, this is what you do. You come together in the morning, you have some morning services, and then in the evening you read the Mahabharata, you read the Ramayana. And it's getting back to these basics that actually satisfy the soul. There's a God-shaped hole in everybody's heart, and we're looking for something to put in that hole. We're looking for some type of adventure, or some type of romance, or some type of popularity, or followers, or soulmate. But the only thing that will satisfy that puzzle piece in the heart is God, because we are all part of God, and we just forgot. The material world makes you forget. Instead of appreciating, like, look at this mango is a work of art. I'm looking at some skyscraper thinking, oh, this is a work of art. Actually, the skyscraper, it's just like we are secondhand gods. We just take from the creation, we manipulate it, we pollute it, we extract, all these elements from the earth, and what's going on is, in the name of creating things, we create also incredible disasters in its wake. Tons of pollution and tons of waste, tons of waste that we don't even know what to do with, that we ship in the ocean. And we think, how about the beautiful creation that's already here? How about some appreciation for the earth, the forest, the ocean? Imagine if we could see the world like that, where their spirit in everything, their spirit in the planet, their spirit in the plants, their spirit in the animals, and their spirit in people that like you, and their spirit in people that you don't like. There's spirit in and when you learn to see the world like that, you stop living in a world of friends and enemies. This is what Prahlad taught in the Srimad Bhagavatam. People in the material world get caught up in a world of friends. They are my friends, they are my enemies. And the spiritualist is training a different vision to see people in a more subtle way. Spiritual truth is for all people. A beautiful analogy is that, if you take a fish out of the water, no matter where you take that fish, you could take him to a concert or the cinema, or you could take him, the fish to, eat special foods or wear nice clothes. The fish is never going to be happy. No matter what quality things of the material world you give the fish, it won't be happy until you put it back in the water. Why? Because that's where the fish belongs. We are spirit souls that are in this material world. And because we're in this material world, we're never quite at home here. We're always looking, how can I find relief? First, I can see it in American culture. We think, well, if I can just consume, that is the baited hook. If I can consume, and we've created a consumer culture. We're overweight, we're underfed, we have massive houses that, many bedrooms where we have like 2 kids. We extend our house, what do we need? What do you actually need to survive? And there's a huge demographic in the West that are like, you know what? Enough is enough. All this consumption is a burden, it's exhausting. And that's why people, it's almost like they have to consume so much to realize, I'm getting sick of this consumption. And let's face it, that's what happens to the body too. If you eat too much, you become obese and you become diseased. Key teachings of the Gita that really touched my heart is that we are not Americans, we are not Europeans, and we are not Indians. And we are not even of a particular religion. In Sanatan Dharma, we are eternal beings. Eternal beings that come in contact with matter and forgot. We forgot who we are and what to do in this world. And we create a bunch of things to do that make us forget even more. And the more we go down these paths, the more sad we are, the more lost we are, the more depressed we become. All these things are epidemic now. So the Gita teaches us what we are and how to live in this world and find some peace of mind. The interesting thing is, the material world won't have peace because the snake will always eat the frog and the frog always eats the fly. We think we can have world peace. It can't necessarily exist, but you can minimize the pain of this world. And you can minimize the pain in your mind. You can at least have peace of mind. And we have to zoom out from what's going on right in front of us and see a bigger picture of our identity. The Gita teaches, for example, I'm an Italian New Yorker male. The Gita teaches that is an illusion, actually. That is not sat, that is asat. That's a temporary identity. You have a real identity, a capital I identity. And that real identity is I'm a spiritual being that forgot, and I'm struggling in this world to find myself and to find God, to find Bhagavan. So the Gita teaches you gotta look through these layers, you gotta look through these costumes to find your real self. When we find our real self, that is the beginning of life. And then I know how to treat people. Then there's no lamentation in this world because you understand God's hand is in everything. Now, we grew up in a world that forgot about God because oftentimes we've been dealt counterfeit concepts of spiritual life. We've been taught like God is, we should be afraid of God, and God is, it's this fire and brimstone that has been taught. Also in the West, it's a fear-based concept of God. But actually, we're part of God. We are part of something bigger. And when we have that connection, there can finally make sense of this crazy world. This world makes no sense. It's got no plan, and people are just like bumping into walls, trying to figure out how to be happy. There needs to be a roadmap. The Vedic teachings are a roadmap of how to be peaceful, have knowledge, and most of all, how to have wisdom in a crazy world, in a temporary world. How to find joy and lasting peace in a temporary world. That's a tall order, and that's what it delivers. Spirituality is integrated with health. It's not that I'm spiritual and I neglect my health. When we become actually spiritually connected, we start to realize, I'm gonna take care of this body. Why? The body's a gift. I'm not gonna take care of it for my ego and show off my abs or my butt or my biceps. I'm gonna take care of my body because my body is a gift from God. And my body is used as a vehicle to serve God. And therefore, oftentimes when we talk about health and wellness, it's a thin slice of a pie. We become very fit, for example, maybe very ripped and very strong, but maybe the mind is angry, or the mind is judgmental, or the mind is bitter. There's no such thing as health if the mind is angry or bitter or vicious or unforgiving. So the spiritual concept of wellness is very popular nowadays because we might have been fit in the past, but we were not well. And so I love this approach to a whole full spectrum type of healing that goes on. And the first thing to understand, the body shouldn't be neglected, but at the same time, don't let the body just be used for your ego as well. You have to understand the body's here as a gift to give back. The second thing is there is no health unless there's mental health, right? And mental health coming from I have to get rid of anger, rage, competition, envy of other people, and I can't let lust or greed sit in the mind. All these things sit in the mind, and they can be exacerbated, right? They can be blown up, or can they be minimized? They say, well, every man is a sexual being. Actually, we're not even men. We're spiritual beings. And if you want to get, and people experience it all this time, addictions with food, addictions with sex, these things are rampant. And it's not, it's sort of like, it's like if you have two people inside your hearts, they say two wolves. What wolf will get strong, the good wolf or the bad wolf? Whatever wolf you feed, right? So if you're feeding lust, greed, anger, envy, you can feed lust, you can feed greed, you can feed anger, right? And to forgive and to control your senses, that's also a practice. If I practice that, I can heal. If I just go on autopilot with my tongue, my belly, my genitals, guess what? You're gonna drive your car right off the track. And there's no peace and there's no harmony. No matter what you try to make, oh, we're gonna have peace, we're gonna have a conference of peace. First, you have to be peaceful. First, your heart has to become free from exploiting other people. So many people wanna change the world, but they can't change themselves. They can't change their own mind. They can't get free of the vices of this world. Matter of fact, they'll say, oh, the vices are good. They're my fun things that I do. They're just for me. No, every time you degrade the mind, you're affecting not just you. You're not just cheating yourself. You're cheating everybody that loves you and looks up to you. And if you think, well, it's not such a big deal, guess what? A little bit of alcohol may not be a big deal to you, but someone who loves you might think, oh, this person does it. It's not such a big deal. Then they do it, and they can't have 1 glass of wine. They need 20 glasses of wine. So you got to be very careful when you start to sort of we call it letting Maya in the door, opening the door for illusion. When Maya knocks on the door, the answer is no one's home. The answer shouldn't be, oh, illusion, what do you want? You want to come in? Come on. No. Once you allow, the Christians say, the devil tempts with half-truths. This is a great line. The devil tempts. He says, oh, what's the big deal? There's no big deal. You know what? You got to be careful with that type of reasoning. We need parameters. We need guardrails. And this is what Vedic culture is all about. And it's only since satellite television, we see a lot of these parameters being broken down even in the Eastern cultures. You know, what's the big deal? Everybody in America is doing it. They seem really fine. Guess what? Take a deeper look at what's going on in the West. Addiction communities, recovery communities, again, overfed, undernourished, right? Mental health is out of control. Suicides, with teenagers. You think we have it all together? It might look pretty. Go a little deeper and see the really things that are suffering in the Western world. And does India really want to follow that? Come on. Sometimes we're standing next to something so good, so important, so real, so strong, but we're not facing it. We're standing something, right? You're standing next to Dharma, to divinity, but I'm facing in the other direction. I think in the West, we've done everything. We've ruined our life. We've made chaos and insanity in our lives, and we're lying in the gutter, but we're sort of looking for the stars. And that's why a lot of people from the West take seriously Eastern culture, because they see, like, we just can't do this anymore out of desperation. So there's an appeal. I'm making an appeal to India at large. The culture you have is so valuable, so rich, so wonderful. Never take valuable things for granted. Just like if you have good parents, never take your parents for granted, right? Oh, who cares, my parents? What have they done for me? Your parents did everything for you. But if you have good parents, your parents have done everything for you, right? Never take for granted great people, great things that have been sent to you. Always live with appreciation. That's my most mature realization of Indian culture and what you guys have here. Hey, for more great content like this, make sure you subscribe to Wake Up and Shine.